Welcome to the RSI Trade of the Day. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at Verified Investing. And we have some stocks that had been staying above the 30 on the RSI. And I have some exciting things to show you on the SPY, the QQQ, UAL, and a few others. But first, you guys, let's go ahead and get to the trade of the day yesterday. So Soundhound was my upside target. You had this great positive this positive sentiment in the stock. It stayed above the 30. It was around the 70, all the way down to right at the 30, but never pierced, never gave that negative sentiment on sellers coming to the market. We decided to take a short. Unfortunately, never hit our upside target. SOUN actually only went up about 4 or 5% on stock like SOUN, such a small stock. That I was actually anticipating it going up, 10, 15%, because that's what a stock like this does. It never got up to even the first resistance level that I was telling you guys about before it got a substantial pullback. So unfortunately, that one didn't play out, but it did get a good pullback. And now it's trading a little bit higher in the pre-market. So I'm going to go over that. So let's just go ahead and jump into the charts. So here was the upside target. 1765 was my first shortable level with a potential add at 1798. That was due to the fact that it stayed above the 70 or the 30 for so long, chopped around the 70, and then came back down, but still had that positive sentiment in the stock. The first level of resistance was $16.59, but from the closing price, that was only a 3-4% move higher. Got up to this high right here and pulled back about 5%. So unfortunately, this is off the table. I still see that on the daily time frame, we're starting to put in not negative RSI divergence, but what it's doing is it's getting to an overbought condition. So if it heads up a little bit higher, it could get up to the 1765. The reason that I would stay away from it right now, even though it has pierced the 70, is look at this. Sometimes these charts can get up to 84, 85, even 87 before they get a pullback. And so that's what could be happening on Soundhound. And it really depends on what happens with price action. If price action consolidates between these two pivot points, so this high pivot right here and this high pivot right here, so 1659 and 1543, then it's poised to jump higher. And then it would be a good thing that we stay away from it. All right, so the next thing I have on my radar is Hood. Hood is putting in some pretty good negative RSI divergence. So what you're looking for on a stock like Robinhood is price capitulation. So you had this movement on the way down, 18%, and then another 25% on the way up. You have a positive or a negative RSI divergence, meaning that the RSI is heading lower while the price action is continuing to head higher. So on a stock like Hood, it is still a stronger stock. As you can see, it hasn't pierced the 40 and started heading lower. So it is a strong stock on the day. So what you're looking for is this upsloping trend line. As soon as this upsloping trend line breaks, then you're going to see a lot bigger downside. Your first level of support is going to be this low pivot right here at $93.36. But ultimately, I do feel like based on what I'm seeing in the charts, that it is due for a rollover, maybe a little bit of a pullback, and possibly getting down to 83.03. Now, if you're a bull on this stock, just realize that, okay, it can go higher. It can pierce the 70 again, get to a little bit more of an extended move to the upside. And so what you're going to wait for is like a topping tail like this one, or an engulfing reversal candle, and then start taking your profits there. All right, I was going to go over ASTS. So ASTS was a strong stock on the year. I mean, look at this movement. It went from $22 down all the way up to 60. So it tried to recapture above the 50, and it still can. But with this big sell-off candle, this is actually, to me, it's indicating that there's more weakness in the stock than there is buying pressure. So if we can push up a little bit more and come back down, we could be putting in a head and shoulders pattern. And this would be an indication to look for a 30 and positive RSI divergence before re-entering this. It could get back down to this $33.53 level. If we can break this upsloping trend line and then put in a shoulder, then you'd have a head and shoulders pattern, and that would be around the targeted price right here at $33.53, especially if you can get some positive RSI divergence oversold condition, 30, but the price action creating a higher, the price action going lower, the RSI going a little bit higher. All right. So SE was another one that I was looking at. Unfortunately, the thing with SE, it stayed strong throughout the day. It did pierce the 30 right here. It gave some positive RSI divergence and then shot higher. But the movement on the stock of SE, it was up 20%, but got a 2.5% pullback pretty much at the most throughout the rest of the day. So this is bullish consolidation, nice bull flag, bullish consolidation here. So I anticipate a rally to the upside. So if you guys are interested in a short on SE, it could go higher. I would target this pivot high right here at around $200 pierce for an upside target. And then that would be a great opportunity for a short. That's not a huge move on SE. That's about a 14% move to the upside. Okay, so one stock that I was looking at yesterday, you guys, the S&P 500 and the QQQ were really volatile at the beginning of the day. And then all of a sudden you got this slow float. And the relative strength index indicated that we were going to have a pop today. I'm not 100% sure on how high we're going to go, but with this overbought condition for an extended period of time, which is a full day on the 1 minute charts, that indicates it should pop, but also should have a nice fade. And so I would be looking for like a $2 to $3 pullback on the SPY. Let me go ahead and go to that intraday chart for you guys. So here's the, let me see the 1 minute chart right here. Look at this. This is a thing of beauty. So you got this negativity. So first you were positive in the morning session, and then you started being negative, and then all of a sudden you got this float. But look at the relative strength index. It stayed at the 70. It dropped to the 50. Price action never really dipped a lot. And then look at this. Stayed above the 50 for most of the day and even got up into the 70s with this really zero movement in the price action. Good price or good movement in the relative strength index. But in order to have good indication of a pullback, you need indication in the price action as well as relative strength index. So it does favor a move up today. So what I would be targeting on today's session is $650. Now on the SPY, it's not a huge move. That's a $7 move on the SPY, but $650 would be a great opportunity to enter a short and look for a $3 pullback on the SPY. Again, that's not a huge move on the SPY, but that's where my upside target would be, 650, and a pullback of about $3 to about 647. All right, the QQQ, similar price action. Look at this. You had some volatility in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, look at the relative strength index. Because you didn't have price capitulation, the relative strength index gave you an indication that it was a relatively strong stock. And that's what happened. It just continued to move higher, never pierced the 30. And so I anticipate the QQQ going up as well today. Now, eventually there will be a pullback in these things. Again, with the SPY and the QQQ, it's harder to tell because the movement in those things is not as great. So I would expect a $2.5 to $3 pullback on the QQQ as well. All right, you guys, now let's go ahead and go over UAL. UAL is going to be the trade of the day. It gave similar price action, similar RSI action. And so here is going to be my trade of the day. So UAL, strong stock in the day. They had positive news that they were raising their rates, which, I mean, if they're getting more customers and they're raising rates, fine. But if they're losing customers and they're raising rates, I'm not sure how this is positive news, but it doesn't really matter because the relative strength index is saying, hey, you had some good price action in the beginning, but really no pullbacks. You got a 66% or 66 cent pullback, a 55 cent pullback, 1%, finally a dollar pullback, but the relative strength index didn't dip below the 30. And so for me, this is a great opportunity to enter a short trade. It was up 8-9%. UAL is one of those momentum stocks. Once the institutions understand or get involved with this thing, it just continually flows it higher and higher. And so I do have a stop out on this with an expected pullback of about 2.5% on this. So here is my trade of the day. short UAL. Here is this high pivot right here at $99. My shortable level isn't until 100.25. I want it to pierce this level, get up to $100.25. This is my short of the day with the stop out at a close above $100.89 on a 15-minute closing basis. Okay, so again, a short at $100.25. So basically a pierce of this high pivot, and then a stop out at $100.89 on a 15-minute closing basis. It could go up to $103.84, but I anticipate a 2.5% pullback if it enters my my tradable level. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe so that way you can see more of this information, and make sure to ring that bell so that way you can get notified every day the market is open at 8:45 in the morning. And that's what I have for you guys. Please stay tuned. The game plan is coming live in less than 4 minutes for you guys. It's going to be an exciting episode as always. So we'll see you guys next time in the charts. Take care.
Hey guys, Lawton here with Verified Investing, and today I'm here to talk about Kinesis Money, our sponsor. Thank you to Kinesis for sponsoring us. So Kinesis has this awesome thing called yields, in which you can literally earn gold by just performing different activities on their website and their platform. So the first way that you can earn on Kinesis Money is through their holders yield. So basically what that is if you buy some KAG or KAU from them, which is basically equivalent to gold or silver, they're one-to-one crypto equivalent of gold and silver, you're able to collect money from them, right? A percentage of all of the fees that Kinesis takes over transactions, over buying KAU, KAG, or anything else is distributed to people that hold on to KAG and KAU. So super cool. Now the velocity spending is also really cool. So if you spend KAU or KAG, you're actually going to get a percentage of all the fees. Again, this is of all the fees that Kinesis takes relative to how much you use Kinesis. So this is things from going to the grocery store and buying things on your Kinesis card. This are things like buying KAG, KAU, sending it to someone else. And finally, it's the same thing as trading on their platform, right? If you do any of those things, you qualify for this velocity yield. The next awesome way that you can earn with Kinesis is through the referrers yield. So if you refer any friends, family, you'll get a percentage of all of their transactions in perpetuity, which is super cool. They also have a partner for a program for partners and minters. But what I really want to focus on is this KBT, the most exciting part of Kinesis for me. 20% of all of the shares of all the transaction fees that happen on Kinesis are going to be distributed to holders of the KVT crypto token. There's a limited amount of crypto supply, but that's a really cool way to actually own part of Kinesis. You can get in on the ground level and just hold those tokens and collect a nice return. Thank you so much to Kinesis for sponsoring this video, and go check out their website at kinesis.money.